I found the phone wedged between our mattress and box spring at 2:55 a.m. on a Tuesday, exactly 3 minutes after my wife Natalie told me she was going to her mother's house for the week. She'd been acting strange for months. Late nights at the office, new lingerie that never made an appearance in our bedroom, a sudden obsession with her appearance that coincided with her sudden disinterest in me. But I'm not stupid. I'm a financial analyst. I notice patterns. I track data. And the data was screaming that something was wrong. The phone was cheap, a prepaid flip phone like something from a drug dealer's pocket. My hands shook as I opened it. No password. Amateurs always get sloppy. The text messages loaded, and my stomach dropped through the floor. Can't wait to feel you again. Thursday at the Riverside Inn? Last night was incredible. I can still taste you. When are you leaving him? I'm tired of sharing you. The messages went back 8 months. 8 months of my wife meeting someone, multiple someones actually. The contact names made that clear. While I worked 60-hour weeks to pay for the house she wanted, the car she needed, the lifestyle she demanded. I sat on the edge of our bed, the bed where we'd promised each other forever 7 years ago, and felt something inside me go cold and hard. Not hot rage. Not the messy, emotional breakdown I'd always imagined if something like this happened. Just ice. Natalie had left 20 minutes ago, said her mom was having health issues and needed her for a week. I'd hugged her, told her to drive safe, asked if she wanted me to come along. She'd kissed my cheek, not my lips, and said no, her mom would be embarrassed to have me see her in such a state. I photographed every message, every photo. And there were photos. Nothing explicit enough for YouTube, but enough to make me want to vomit. Natalie in lingerie I'd never seen. Natalie in hotel rooms. Natalie with a smile on her face that she hadn't given me in over a year. The main contact was saved as J. The messages between them were the most frequent, the most intimate. They'd been seeing each other for the full 8 months. The others seemed to be more recent additions to whatever sick game my wife was playing. I checked the call log. Dozens of calls, some lasting an hour or more. All during times when she'd told me she was working late, or at book club, or having dinner with friends. My phone buzzed. A text from Natalie. Made it to Mom's, going to bed. Love you. Love you. I stared at those 2 words until they stopped looking like words at all, just meaningless shapes on a screen. I didn't text back. Instead, I opened my laptop and started documenting everything. Screenshots, photos of the phone itself, a detailed timeline matching her lies to the messages. I created a spreadsheet, because that's what I do. I make spreadsheets, tracking every late night at work against every message to Jay. The correlation was perfect, statistically significant, damning. At 4:15 a.m., I called in sick to work, first time in 3 years. Then I did something I'd never done before. I hired a private investigator. His name was Robert Callahan, and his website promised discretion, professionalism, and results. He answered on the 3rd ring despite the early hour, his voice rough but alert. I need surveillance on my wife, I said. She's at the Riverside Inn right now, room unknown. She thinks she's at her mother's house in Portland. How do you know she's at the Riverside? I read him the messages. Keep that phone exactly where you found it, Robert said. Don't confront her. Don't change your behavior. Can you do that? Yes. Good. I'll have someone at the Riverside within the hour. My rate is, I don't care about your rate. I want photos, video, everything. Legal and usable in court. You're in Washington State? Yes, Seattle. Washington's a no-fault divorce state, but evidence of infidelity can still impact asset distribution and spousal support. I'll get you what you need. I gave him my credit card information and hung up. The house was too quiet, too empty, too full of lies. I walked through each room, seeing it all differently now. The kitchen where she'd kissed me goodbye 1,000 times before going to meet him. The living room where we'd watched movies while she texted him under the blanket. The bathroom where she'd showered off his scent before climbing into bed beside me. How many times had she done it? How many times had she looked me in the eye and lied? My phone buzzed again. Another text from Natalie. Mom's worse than I thought. Might need to stay longer than a week. I typed back. Whatever you need. I'm here if you need anything. Her response came immediately. You're the best husband. I'm so lucky. I set the phone down before I threw it through the window. The sun was coming up. Wednesday morning. In a few hours, Robert would send me the first photos. In a few days, I'd have everything I needed. And then Natalie would learn that I wasn't the naive fool she thought I was. I wasn't going to yell, wasn't going to cry, wasn't going to beg her to explain or give her a chance to lie her way out of this. I was going to dismantle her life the same way she dismantled mine, carefully, methodically, and with absolutely no mercy. The recipe book sits on the counter where Natalie left it Tuesday morning. I notice it at 6:47 p.m. Wednesday, home early for the first time in months. The PI's first report came through an hour ago. Photographs of her entering the Riverside Inn, meeting a man in the lobby. Tall, dark hair, chef's coat visible under his jacket. A chef. The recipe book is leather-bound, worn at the edges. Her grandmother's, she'd told me. Passed down through 3 generations of New Orleans women who knew their way around a kitchen. I'd never paid much attention to it before. Natalie cooked maybe twice a month, elaborate meals she'd photograph extensively before we ate. I flip it open. The first page has her grandmother's signature in faded ink. Below it, Natalie's handwriting. Inherited July 2019. Can't wait to master these. 4 years ago, the month after we married. I turned pages, gumbo, jambalaya, etouffee, red beans, and rice. The recipes are typed on yellowed paper, pasted into the book decades ago. But in the margins, recent additions. Natalie's handwriting in blue ink. Next to the shrimp creole, tried 315, too bland. Added cayenne. Below the chicken and sausage gumbo, made for dinner party 5-2. Everyone loved it. Normal annotations, expected. Then I reached the crawfish etouffee. Tried with him 8-12. Spicy success. He loved the heat. I stare at the words. August 12th. 5 months ago. The burner phone shows messages with J from that date. Tonight was perfect. You're amazing in every way. My hands are steady as I continue through the book. Blackened red fish. Cooking class solo 9-6. Instructor said perfect sear. Except her calendar that day shows gym evening. And the burner phone has her texting J at 8:30 p.m. Just finished. You were right about the cast iron technique. Shrimp and grits. Him again, 9:20. Breakfast after. Pure heaven. Oyster po' boys. His favorite 10-8, made extra spicy how he likes. Beignets. Tried his recipe 10-15, lighter than mine. Must use his trick. Every few pages, another note. Him. He. His recipe. Never a name. But the dates align perfectly with gaps in her texts to me, clusters of messages to J. I pull out my laptop. Search New Orleans Chef Food Blog Seattle. Third result, Bayou to Sound, Chef Julian Broussard's Pacific Northwest Kitchen. I click through. The site header shows a man in his 30s, dark hair, chef's whites. The same build as the man in the PI's photographs. The blog posts make my stomach turn. August 10th. Crawfish etouffee, adding heat to a classic. The recipe matches her grandmother's exactly, down to the measurements. But his notes describe modifications. Extra cayenne. Fresh thyme instead of dried. The same changes written in Natalie's margins 2 days later. September 4th. The perfect blackened red fish. Cast iron secrets. Posted 2 days before her cooking class solo. September 18th. Shrimp and grits. A love letter to breakfast. Posted 2 days before her annotation about breakfast after. October 6th. Po' boys done right. How my girl likes them extra spicy. My girl. October 13th. Beignet perfection, a technique worth sharing. He's been blogging about her, about cooking with her, for months. Public posts about their private moments disguised as recipe development and culinary exploration. Comments below each post gush about his passion, his authenticity, his obvious love for the food. They have no idea he's describing dates with another man's wife. I screenshot everything, add it to my documentation folder. The correlation is perfect. Every cooking class, every girls' night, every late meeting that involved food, she was with him, learning his recipes, cooking in his kitchen, playing house with a chef while I paid for the actual house. The recipe book sits open to the beignets page. Her handwriting, his trick, let dough rest overnight, makes all the difference. Can't wait to make these for him again. I close the book carefully. Thursday morning, I call in sick again. Second day in 3 years. My boss sounds concerned. I tell him it's a stomach bug, not entirely a lie. The thought of food makes me nauseous. But I go shopping anyway. Whole Foods first, then a specialty store in Pike Place Market that sells peppers I've never heard of. Ghost peppers, Carolina Reapers, Trinidad Scorpions. The guy behind the counter asks if I know what I'm doing with them. I'm following a recipe, I tell him. At home, I put on latex gloves. Handle the peppers like the internet instructs. Carefully, methodically. I'm good at following instructions. It's why I'm successful at my job. Attention to detail, precision. The recipe book tells me Natalie's planning to cook dinner Friday night. She texted yesterday. Home tomorrow evening. Can't wait to see you. Thinking I'll make that étouffée you love. With a heart emoji. The étouffée I love. The one she perfected with Julian. The spicy success. I prep everything Thursday night. The peppers go into a paste, mixed with butter, exactly the color of the cayenne-infused butter her grandmother's recipe calls for. I portion it carefully. Measure it precisely. Store it in a container identical to the one she keeps in the fridge. Friday at 3 p.m., Natalie texts, leaving Portland now. Be home by 7. Starting dinner right away. I'm starving for home cooking. I respond, can't wait. Missed you. She arrives at 7:12 p.m. I'm in the living room, laptop open to a financial report, playing the part. She kisses my cheek, smells like unfamiliar cologne. Let me get dinner started, she says. You must be tired of takeout. You're the best, I tell her. She hums in the kitchen. I hear the refrigerator open, the cabinet where she keeps the recipe book. The familiar sounds of her cooking, chopping, the sizzle of the roux starting. 20 minutes later, she calls out, Want to open some wine? This is going to be amazing. I pour 2 glasses. Bring hers to the kitchen. She's stirring the pot, the recipe book open on the counter to the étouffée page. Smells great, I say. Used extra cayenne this time, really bringing the heat. She grins at me. You're going to love it. I'm sure I will. We eat at 8:30. She serves generous portions over rice, garnished with green onions exactly how the book instructs. She takes the first bite. Oh wow, She reaches for her water. That's really spicy. I take a bite. The heat is immediate, building, intense. My eyes water, but I've prepared for this. Milk in my glass instead of water. Bread on standby. Natalie's face is red. Sweat beads on her forehead. I don't understand. I measured everything exactly. It's good, I say. Nice and spicy. Just how he likes it, right? She freezes, glass halfway to her mouth. What? The recipe book. I nod toward it, still open on the counter. All those notes about him, about cooking together, about his techniques and his tricks and his favorite levels of heat. Her face goes from red to white. I matched them to Julian Broussard's blog. Every single one. Dates, recipes, techniques, even the beignets. I take another bite, let the heat build. This is good, though. Really brought the heat this time. Carolina Reaper heat. Ghost pepper heat. The kind of heat that makes you sweat until you can't hide anything anymore. She's crying now, not from emotion, from the peppers. Sweat running down her face, mixing with tears. How long have you known? Since Tuesday, 2:47 a.m. Found your burner phone. She pushes her plate away, drinks more water. It makes the burning worse. She doesn't know that. I do. I researched. I can explain. Don't. I stand, walk to the counter, pick up the recipe book. This was your grandmother's. 3 generations of family recipes, and you filled it with notes about screwing a chef. It wasn't, we didn't mean, 8 months, Natalie. I have every text, every photo, every hotel receipt. The PI has pictures from this week. You weren't in Portland. She's sobbing now, gasping. The peppers are still working. Her lips are swollen. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm sure you are. Sorry you got caught. I open the recipe book to a blank page in the back. Pull out a pen. Write in clear, careful letters. Final recipe, marriage dissolution. Ingredients. 1 cheating wife. 8 months of lies. Evidence documented and verified. Method. Serve divorce papers cold. Yield. 1 freed husband. I close the book, slide it across the counter to her. That's the last annotation this book gets from our marriage. Keep it. Remember what it cost you. She can't speak, can't stop coughing. The peppers have won. I walk to the bedroom, pull out the suitcase I packed this morning. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. A different one than the Riverside Inn. Somewhere clean. The lawyer gets the documentation Monday, I tell her from the doorway. The blog post too, all of them. Every comment section where Julian talks about his girl and cooking with love. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of recipes you two were sharing. She's bent over the sink now, running water over her face. Still burning, still sweating. And Natalie? I'm posting my own recipe on his blog. A detailed breakdown of how a chef seduces a married woman. Dates, times, dishes. Every single post he made about you, I'm commenting with the truth. Let's see how his followers feel about his authentic passion then. I leave her there. Burning. Sweating. The truth finally too hot to swallow. I don't wait until morning. By 11:47 p.m., I'm at my laptop, coffee gone cold beside me. Julian Broussard's food blog, Bayou to Table, glows on the screen. The site's amateur but earnest. Photos of gumbo and jambalaya, arranged on mismatched plates. Captions about honoring tradition while making it your own. There's a contact form. I ignore it. Instead, I scroll through his posts, finding the ones Natalie annotated. March 15th. Shrimp Creole with my girl. May 2nd. Sunday brunch beignets. She said they were better than Café du Monde. June 23rd. Blackened red fish for 2. Each post has a comment section. Most are empty or have 1 or 2 generic responses. Looks delicious. Can't wait to try this. I create an account. Username, Truth in Recipes. Email, a burner address I set up in 30 seconds. The first comment goes on the Shrimp Creole post. Interesting that you made this on March 15th, the same day my wife wrote, tried with him, spicy success in her grandmother's recipe book. She was supposed to be at a work conference in Baton Rouge. Small world, isn't it? Post. The blackened redfish next. My wife Natalie loved this dish so much she recreated it at home on June 25th. Funny thing, she told me she learned it in a cooking class. I guess that's one way to describe 8 months of screwing around behind your husband's back. Post. I work methodically, matching every blog entry to every annotation in Memer's book. 15 posts total. 15 comments, each one clinical and specific. Dates. Dish names. The exact phrases Natalie wrote. On the beignets post, I add, "She told me these were better than Café du Monde too. She also told me she was visiting her sick mother that weekend. Her mother wasn't sick. But I guess you already knew that, Julian." The June 30th post about barbecue shrimp gets, "This was the dish she made the night before our 7th anniversary. She said she wanted to practice something special. I ate grocery store fried chicken for our actual anniversary because she was too tired from her cooking class. Hope the shrimp were worth it." I don't rant. Don't curse. Just facts, time-stamped and cross-referenced. The last comment goes on his most recent post, crawfish étouffée from 3 days ago. The same dish currently congealing on our dining room table, the one Natalie couldn't finish because her mouth was on fire. She made this tonight. Added some extra spice to it myself. Carolina Reapers, ghost peppers, the works. While she was crying and sweating through dinner, I showed her all the evidence of your affair. The burner phone, the photos. Your blog posts match to her recipe annotations. She's upstairs packing now. My lawyer gets everything tomorrow. Enjoy your authentic New Orleans cuisine, Chef Julian. You've earned it. Post. I sit back. The comments are live, visible to anyone who visits the site. Julian will see them. Natalie will see them when she inevitably checks his page. Anyone who Googles Julian Broussard Chef New Orleans will find them. My phone buzzes. Natalie, from upstairs. "You're insane. I'm calling my lawyer." I don't respond. Instead, I open Memer's recipe book. The page is now evidence in my possession. I've already photographed every annotation, every note, every date. The originals go into a manila folder for Robert Callahan and my attorney. But first, I need one more annotation. I flip to the crawfish étouffée page, where Natalie wrote, "Dinner with Jay. He loved it," in her looping script. Below her note, in my own handwriting, I write, "Final dinner together. Added extra heat." She didn't love it. Neither did I. Filed for divorce, 11/14/23. I turn to the shrimp Creole page. Below, tried with him, spicy success. I add, tried with wife's lover, marriage failure, divorce pending. Page by page, I annotate her annotations. Clinical, factual, dated. On the gumbo page, cooking class solo, suck affair, number 4. Evidence documented, attorney notified. On the jambalaya, her girls' night. Riverside Inn, room 237. PI photos attached to divorce filing. The étouffée gets a final note at the bottom of the page, below all the ingredients and instructions. Last meal as husband and wife. Recipe poisoned, marriage dead. Book retained as evidence. Divorce decree to follow. I close the book. It sits on the table, an artifact of betrayal now repurposed as a ledger of consequences. Upstairs, I hear drawers slamming. Natalie's voice, muffled through the ceiling, talking to someone on the phone. Her mother, probably. Or a girlfriend. Maybe even Julian, though I doubt he's answering calls right now. Not after seeing those comments. My laptop pings. An email notification. It's from Julian's blog platform. Someone's replied to one of my comments. I open it. The username is J. Broussard Chef, Julian himself. "I don't know who you are, but this is harassment. I'm reporting these comments and contacting my lawyer." I smile. Not warmth, just acknowledgement. I reply directly, not through the blog. "I'm the husband. Natalie's husband. And you're welcome to contact your lawyer. Mine already has copies of every text message you sent her over the past 8 months. Every photo. Every blog post she annotated in her dead grandmother's recipe book. You want to talk harassment? Let's talk about what you've been doing with another man's wife while pretending to be some kind of culinary artist online. My attorney's name is David Perkins at Broussard & Klein. Yes, same last name. Small world. He's expecting your call. Send. Another ping. This time, a different commenter on the blog. Username: NolaFoodie2010. Holy crap, is this real? I've been following this blog for months. If this is true, that's messed up, Julian. Then another. Cajun Cooking 88. Dude, you were posting about someone's wife? That's not cool. And another. Shrimp Boil Queen. I'm unfollowing. This is gross. The comments multiply. I refresh the page. 4 more. 6, 10. Julian's blog is small. Maybe 200 regular visitors based on the view counts. But those 200 are active, engaged. They comment. They share. And now they're turning on him. Someone screenshotted my comments and posted them to a New Orleans foodie Facebook group. I find the post through a reverse image search. 43 shares in 20 minutes. The top comment. This is Julian Broussard, right? The guy who does the pop-up dinners at Rue and Brew? I was going to book him for my wedding. Not anymore. Another. My cousin took his cooking class last month. She said he was super flirty and kept talking about his girlfriend. Guess we know who that was now. I don't participate. Don't add fuel. Just watch. By 1:30 a.m., Julian's blog is offline. The whole site? Gone. Just a blank page with a 404 error. Too late. The screenshots are everywhere. Reddit's picked it up. A local food blogger with 15,000 Instagram followers has posted about it. PSA: think twice before hiring Julian Broussard for your events. Messy personal life aside, professionalism matters. My phone buzzes again. Natalie. What did you do? Julian's getting death threats. People are calling his restaurant. This is too far. I stare at the message. Read it 3 times. Then I type, I posted facts. Public comments on a public blog. What people do with those facts isn't my problem. What you did for 8 months isn't my problem anymore either. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow with the filing details. Her response is immediate. I'll fight this. You sabotaged my dinner. You humiliated me online. I block her number. The burner phone's still in my desk drawer. I pull it out, scroll through the messages one more time. Julian's last text to her from this afternoon. Can't wait for you to leave him. We'll cook together every night. I screenshot it, send it to Robert Callahan with a note. Add this to the file. Thanks for everything. His response comes in 5 minutes. Will do. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be busy. He's right. At 8 a.m., I'm at David Perkins's office with 3 accordion folders of evidence. The burner phone, the printed text messages, the PI's surveillance photos, Memer's recipe book, every page photographed and annotated. David's 50-something, gray at the temples, reading glasses perched on his nose. He doesn't say it's the best documentation he's ever seen. He just nods, flipping through page after page, occasionally making notes on a legal pad. Louisiana's a fault state, he says, but you're filing in Washington. We live in Washington. The affair happened in both states. Doesn't matter for the divorce itself. Washington's no fault. But for asset distribution, this helps. He taps the recipe book, especially this. Shows premeditation, pattern of behavior, deception. Judge won't like it. What about the blog comments? He looks up. What blog comments? I show him my laptop. Julian's cached blog posts, my comments, the screenshot circulating on social media. David's expression doesn't change. Did you make any threats? No, just facts. Did you post private information, home addresses, phone numbers, anything like that? No, just dates and dishes and what she wrote in the book. He nods slowly. Then it's not defamation if it's true. It's not harassment if it's public commentary on a public blog. She might try to claim emotional distress, but he gestures at the folders. She's not going to want this in front of a judge. So we're good? We're filing today. I'll have the papers ready by noon. The food blog comments detonate across the internet faster than I anticipated. By Thursday morning, Julian Broussard's professional life is burning down in real time. I'm at my desk, coffee cooling beside my keyboard, watching the metrics. 3 major food websites have picked up the story. Someone screenshots my comments and posts them to Reddit's AR Hobby Drama. The thread gets 14,000 upvotes in 6 hours. Chef Julian Broussard, whose Creole Confessions blog garnered praise from Food and Wine magazine last year, has deleted his social media presence following allegations of an affair with a married woman. The evidence? Recipe annotations that match his blog post date for date, ingredient for ingredient. My phone buzzes. David Perkins, my attorney. They want to talk settlement, he says without preamble. Already? Natalie's attorney called this morning. She's willing to waive any claim to your retirement accounts if you'll sign a mutual non-disparagement agreement. I lean back in my chair. She wants me quiet. Essentially, yes. No more blog comments. No social media posts about the affair. Complete silence about the circumstances of the divorce. What about the recipe book? That's yours. Family heirloom from your grandmother, correct? Hers, her grandmother's. David pauses. That complicates things. Technically, it's her separate property, inherited before the marriage. I think about those annotations. Tried with him. Spicy success. 8 months of her handwriting, documenting a relationship that wasn't with me. I want it, I say. It's going to cost you. What's in your retirement accounts? $240,000. She'd walk away from half of that, $120,000, for your silence and the recipe book? The math doesn't track. A 100-year-old cookbook, even with sentimental value, isn't worth that kind of money, unless she knows what those annotations prove. Tell her no, I say. I want the house. She can have the retirement accounts, the car, whatever. But I keep the house and the recipe book. The house has $400,000 in equity. I know what it's worth. David's quiet for a moment. You're paying a premium for that cookbook. Send the counteroffer. Robert Callahan emails me Friday afternoon. The subject line reads, Additional findings. I open it at my desk, 3rd coffee of the day going cold. Per your request, I've documented Natalie's movements over the past week. She's currently staying at the Hilton on Canal Street, not with Julian Broussard. He checked out of his apartment Wednesday, and his restaurant employer confirms he's taken an indefinite leave of absence. His blog remains offline. Social media accounts deleted. Natalie has met twice with her attorney, once with her mother. She's been to the house 3 times, always when you're at work. Security footage shows her removing clothing and personal items. No furniture, no kitchenware. Attached, itemized timeline with photos. I scroll through the documentation. Natalie loading suitcases into her car. Natalie carrying out the framed photos from the hallway. Natalie standing in our driveway, staring at the house like she's memorizing it. In one photo, she's crying. I close the email. The recipe book sits on my kitchen counter where I left it. I haven't touched it since the dinner. Since the confrontation. Since Natalie sweated and gasped her way through a confession while Carolina Reaper burned her mouth. Now I open it carefully, turning past the gumbo and jambalaya, past the red beans and rice, until I find the crawfish etouffee. Tried with him. Spicy success. Added extra cayenne like he suggested. Perfect heat. I take a black pen from the drawer. The same kind Natalie used for her annotations. Below her note, I write, "Tried with Carolina Reaper, even better heat, confession-worthy." I flip to the next page, shrimp Creole. Her note reads, "Made this for him after cooking class. He loved the depth of flavor." I add, "Made this for my attorney. He loved the depth of documentation." Page after page, I annotate her annotations, a palimpsest of betrayal and consequence. Chicken and sausage gumbo. His favorite. Made it 3 times in 1 week. My addition, her favorite excuse. Used it 3 times in 1 week. I'm on page 47 when my phone rings. Unknown number. This is Julian Broussard. His voice is rough, strained. "We need to talk." I set down my pen. "No, we don't. You destroyed my career, my reputation, everything I built. You destroyed my marriage, my trust, everything I built. I didn't know she was married, not at first." I laugh. It comes out cold. "When did you find out?" Silence. "Let me guess," I say. 2 months in? 3? And you kept going anyway. She said you didn't love her, that the marriage was over, that she was just waiting for the right time to leave. She lied to you too. Congratulations. You have something in common with me after all. I lost everything. My blog, my reputation. The restaurant let me go. I can't even get a line cook position now because everyone knows. I pick up the recipe book, flip to bread pudding with whiskey sauce. Made this the morning after. He said it was the best he'd ever had. You want sympathy? I ask. From me? I want you to post a retraction. Say you were wrong, that it was a misunderstanding. But I wasn't wrong. It wasn't a misunderstanding. Please. His voice cracks. I'm 32 years old. My career is over before it started. I can't even go back to New Orleans. Everyone knows. I think about Natalie's annotations. 8 months of documentation, 8 months of her learning his favorite dishes, his preferred spices, his cooking techniques. 8 months of her coming home to me and lying about where she'd been. You should have thought about that before you slept with someone else's wife, I say, and hang up. David calls Monday morning with news. They've accepted your counteroffer. House and recipe book are yours. She gets the retirement accounts, her car, and her personal property. You each keep your own debts. No spousal support either direction. She agreed to that? Her attorney pushed back hard on the recipe book, but Natalie overruled her. Said she wants it done. Fast. When can we file? Paperwork's ready. I need your signature by Wednesday. We'll file Thursday. Louisiana's a no-fault state, but with mutual consent we can expedite. You're looking at final decree in about 6 weeks, maybe 8. 6 weeks. 7 years of marriage dissolved in 6 weeks. Send the papers, I say. They arrive Tuesday by courier. Thick manila envelope. My name typed on the label in official legal font. I open it at the kitchen table. The recipe book sits beside me, closed now, my annotations complete. Petition for divorce, State of Louisiana, Parish of Orleans. I read through the legalese, irreconcilable differences, mutual consent, division of property, no minor children. There's a blank line for my signature, another for the date. I pick up my pen, the same black pen I used for the annotations, and sign my name. The date, March 19th. Then I open the recipe book one final time. The last page, after all the recipes, is blank. Reserved for notes, maybe, or new additions. I write carefully, clearly. Final recipe, divorce decree. Ingredients. 1 burner phone. 8 months of lies. 1 family heirloom recipe book. Multiple blog posts. Carolina Reaper peppers. 1 viral internet thread. Extensive documentation. Instructions. Combine all ingredients. Let simmer for 1 week. Serve cold. Yields: 1 dissolved marriage, 1 destroyed affair, 2 separate lives. Notes: best served with detailed legal documentation. Pairs well with new beginnings. Do not reheat. Date prepared: March 19th. Outcome: success. I close the book. Seal the divorce papers back in their envelope. Tomorrow, I'll courier them to David's office. Tonight, I'm cooking. I make red beans and rice from scratch. No annotations to follow. No notes about him or spicy success. Just the base recipe, the way Natalie's grandmother originally wrote it 100 years ago. I dice the onions fine. Mince the garlic. Measure the spices carefully: cayenne, paprika, thyme. The andouille sausage sizzles in the pot. The kitchen smells like New Orleans. Like history. Like something authentic that existed before the lies. My phone buzzes. Text message from Robert Callahan. Final invoice attached. Natalie checked out of the Hilton this morning. Drove west on I-10. Tail ended at Texas state line per your instructions. Good luck. I don't respond. Just add the beans to the pot, the chicken stock, the bay leaves. While it simmers, I take the recipe book and place it on the highest shelf in my kitchen. Not hidden. Not thrown away. Just archived. Evidence and artifact both. The blog comments are still up. I check them occasionally, watch the view count climb. 40,000 now. 50. Someone's made a YouTube video analyzing the whole situation. It has 300,000 views. Julian Broussard's name is permanently attached to this story. So is Natalie's, though most people just know her as the wife. My name isn't mentioned anywhere. I'm just the husband. Anonymous, analytical, cold. I'm okay with that. The red beans finish cooking at 7:30. I serve myself a bowl, no annotations needed, no one to impress. It's good. Simple. Honest. I eat alone at the kitchen table, divorce papers beside me, recipe book on the shelf above. Tomorrow, I'll file the paperwork. Tonight, I'm just cooking. And that's enough. The recipe book sits on my kitchen counter. I've been staring at it for 3 days. Not the whole time. I still go to work. Still answer emails. Still attend meetings where people talk about quarterly projections and market trends. But when I come home, there it is. Grandma Celeste's recipe book, bound in cracked leather the color of dried blood, filled with Natalie's grandmother's spidery handwriting and Natalie's own annotations. The annotations I added myself are in black ink. Divorce filing date. Settlement terms. Julian's blog deletion timestamp. Clinical. Factual. True. But they don't feel like enough. It's Friday evening when I finally understand what's missing. I'm making red beans and rice. Simple, honest food that doesn't require deception or performance when my phone buzzes. Unknown number. I almost don't answer. But something makes me pick up. You destroyed my life. The voice is female, unfamiliar, shaking with rage. Who is this? Melissa Broussard, Julian's wife. The wooden spoon in my hand stops moving. I knew he had a blog. I knew he worked at restaurants. I never thought to check for a wife. I didn't know he was married. Yeah, well, neither did your wife, apparently. Or maybe she did and didn't care. Melissa's laugh is bitter. Found your comments on his blog. Found his phone after that. Found everything. I turn off the burner. The beans can wait. I'm sorry. Are you? She doesn't sound convinced. Because from where I'm standing, you nuked his career, his reputation, everything. And you didn't even know the whole story. The whole story being that we have 2 kids, that I'm 7 months pregnant with our 3rd, that the restaurant fired him the same day I kicked him out, so now he's got no job, no family, and no way to pay child support even if I wanted it. The kitchen feels suddenly cold. I sit down at the table, the recipe book inches from my hand. I didn't know about the kids. Would it have mattered? I think about that. About Natalie sweating through dinner while I read her own words back to her. About Julian's blog disappearing into the void. About revenge served cold and precise and utterly complete. Yes, I say finally. It would have. Liar. But Melissa sounds tired now, not angry. Look, I'm not calling for an apology. I'm calling because you need to know something. What? Julian wasn't the only one. Your wife had a whole rotation going. Different guys for different things. Julian was just the one she saw most often because he worked nights and weekends. Easy to explain away. My hand finds the recipe book, fingers tracing the embossed title. How do you know? Because I've been doing what you did, going through everything. And I found messages where she's talking to him about coordinating schedules with the others, making sure nobody overlaps, treating it like a project plan. The analytical part of my brain, the part that never stops working, starts processing this. Multiple concurrent relationships, schedule coordination, risk management. Natalie ran her affairs like a business. Why are you telling me this? Because you're going to see her again. Divorce isn't final yet, right? You'll have to sign papers, split things up, whatever. And when you do, she's going to try to make you feel guilty, like you overreacted, like it was just Julian and it's over now and you ruined everything for nothing. Melissa takes a breath. I hear a child crying in the background, then her muffled voice telling someone to give the baby her bottle. Don't let her, Melissa continues. Don't let her rewrite what happened. She did this, all of it. And she did it carefully, methodically, for at least a year before you found out. 8 months, I say automatically. The burner phone only went back 8 months. The burner phone you found, Melissa corrects. Julian said she had different phones for different people. Kept them in her car, her gym locker, her desk at work. You found one. The beans are getting cold. I should reheat them. Instead, I open the recipe book to a random page. Chicken and sausage gumbo. Natalie's annotation. Made this for Jay after his shift. He said it reminded him of his mother's. Stayed over. Told husband about Portland trip. I remember that weekend. She'd called me crying about her mother's pneumonia. I'd offered to come with her. She'd said no, her mother didn't want me to see her so sick. I'd believed her. You still there? Melissa asks. Yeah. Look, I don't know you. I don't even know if you're a good person, but you deserve to know the truth, all of it, not just the parts you happen to find. What do you want from me? Nothing. I want you to do nothing. Her voice hardens. Julian's already destroyed. My kids are asking why Daddy doesn't live here anymore. I'm trying to figure out how to pay rent on a teacher's salary. Whatever else you were planning, don't. Just let it go. She hangs up before I can respond. I sit there with the phone in one hand and the recipe book in the other. The beans have definitely gone cold now. I should make something else. Or order takeout. Or just skip dinner entirely. Instead, I start reading. Really reading, this time. Not just Natalie's annotations about Julian, but all of them. Every recipe, every note, every scribbled addition in the margins. Jambalaya. Tried with R, he liked it spicier. Added cayenne. Bread pudding. D said this was better than his grandmother's, made him promise not to tell her. Shrimp Creole. M brought wine, good pairing. Discussed his divorce, ironic. On and on. Initials and dates and little moments of intimacy scattered through Grandma Celeste's carefully preserved recipes. A catalog of betrayal disguised as cooking notes. I grab my laptop and open a new spreadsheet. Because that's what I do. I organize. I analyze. I find patterns. Column A, recipe name. Column B, date of annotation. Column C, initial used. Column D, Cross-reference with burner phone if possible. It takes 2 hours. The data is incomplete. The burner phone only covered Julian, and even Natalie's annotations are sporadic. But patterns emerge anyway. R appears first, about 14 months ago. Frequent at first, then tapering off. D overlaps with R for about 2 months, then continues alone for another 3. M shows up around the time D disappears. Only 4 entries. Julian, J, starts 8 months ago and continues right up until I found the phone. Higher frequency than the others, more detailed notes. And there's one more. K. Just 2 entries, both recent. Both vague. K wants to try this one next time. Made for K. He said I should open a restaurant. I close the laptop. My red beans and rice are ruined, congealed in the pot. I dump them in the trash and make a sandwich instead. Turkey and cheese. Nothing that requires a recipe or carries a memory. The recipe book stays open on the counter. Melissa was right about one thing. I will see Natalie again. The divorce isn't final. We have one more meeting scheduled with our attorneys to sign the final papers. 2 weeks from now, Tuesday afternoon, David Perkins' office downtown. I could let it go. Take the settlement, sign the papers, move on with my life. Natalie gets the retirement accounts. I get the house and the recipe book. Clean break? But I pick up my phone and call Robert Callahan. He answers on the second ring. Didn't expect to hear from you again, he says. I need more information. The divorce is basically done. What else is there? Other men. Natalie had multiple affairs. I need names, dates, documentation. Silence. Then, that's going to cost you. And I'm not sure what you're planning to do with it, but I'm not planning anything, I interrupt. I just need to know, all of it, the complete picture. More silence. I can hear him thinking, weighing whether this is a good idea, whether I'm stable enough to handle whatever he finds. 2,000 retainer, he says finally. Same as before. But I'm telling you right now, sometimes not knowing is better. I'll have the money transferred Monday morning. After I hang up, I turn back to the recipe book. I flip to the front page, where Grandma Celeste wrote her name and the date she started the collection, April 15th, 1962. Below that, in Natalie's handwriting, to my darling husband, may we fill these pages with our own memories. All my love, N. She gave me this book on our 5th anniversary, 2 years ago, right around when R first appears in the annotations. I pick up a pen, red this time, not black, and write beneath her inscription, she did, just not the memories I expected. Robert calls me at 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday. I'm in the kitchen, staring at Grandma Thibodeau's recipe book, spread open to the jambalaya page. Tried with D, perfect heat balance. He loved the andouille. The annotation mocks me in Natalie's looping cursive. Found your D, Robert says without preamble. David Nguyen, sous chef at Canley's. Worked with your wife on that charity gala last spring. I pull up my spreadsheet. May through July, 15 cooking class nights. How sure are you? Security footage from his apartment building. She's there twice a week, regular as clockwork. Always leaves around 11. I add the data to my tracking sheet. David Nguyen, Canley's. Tuesday and Thursday nights. What about the others? Working on it. The K entries are recent, only started 6 weeks ago. M goes back almost a year, predates Julian. R is sporadic, no clear pattern yet. A year. I close my eyes. We celebrated our 6th anniversary last October. She was already sleeping with M. Keep digging, I say. I want all of them. Your dime, Robert says. But I gotta ask, what's the end game here? You've got enough for the divorce. Hell, you had enough 2 weeks ago. I look at the recipe book. 43 annotated recipes. 43 times she cooked something she'd perfected with another man and served it to me like it was ours. Like our marriage meant something. I want the truth, I say. All of it. Robert is quiet for 3 seconds. I'll have more by Monday. Saturday morning, Natalie comes into the kitchen while I'm making coffee. She's been sleeping in the guest room since the pepper incident. We're cordial, professional. Two people sharing space until the lawyers finish their paperwork. I need to pick up some things from the house, she says. My grandmother's china, the Le Creuset set. I don't look up from my phone. The settlement gives you the retirement accounts. I keep the house and contents. It's my grandmother's china. Your grandmother whose recipe book you turned into a sex diary? Now I do look at her. No. Her jaw tightens. You're being petty. I'm being exact. The settlement is clear. You want to renegotiate. Call David Perkins. She stares at me for 5 seconds, then walks out. I hear the guest room door slam. I pull up my email. David Perkins sent the final divorce decree yesterday. Clean, simple, no fault. I get the house, the car, the recipe book. She gets her retirement accounts, her personal belongings, and the freedom to go build her life with whoever she wants. I should sign it. Robert's investigation is costing me $300 a day. The divorce is costing me nothing. Washington is no fault, and we're splitting assets fairly. Knowing the names of every man she slept with won't change the outcome. But I keep thinking about Julian Broussard's blog. How he documented everything, thinking he was clever. How he never knew his wife was pregnant with their third child while he was posting recipes about inspiration from a beautiful woman. How many other men think they're special? How many other wives are sitting at home while their husbands brag about my wife? I text Robert. Speed this up. I'll pay overtime. Monday at 6:15 a.m., Robert sends me a file. 4 names, 4 addresses, 4 sets of surveillance photos. David Nguyen, sous chef at Canlis. Tuesdays and Thursdays, like clockwork. Martin Webb, food critic for Seattle Met. Sporadic meetings, always at hotels. The M in the recipe book goes back 13 months. Kenneth Price, wine distributor. The recent K entries. They meet at his downtown condo, Wednesday afternoons. And R. Russell Grant. Pastry chef, owns a bakery in Ballard. The annotations for him are different. R's technique is better, on the beignet recipe. He showed me the real way, on the bread pudding. 4 men. 4 separate affairs, running concurrent with Julian. 5 total. I sit at my kitchen table and stare at the names. My wife, the woman who cried at our wedding, who told me she wanted to build a life together, who kissed me goodbye every morning for 7 years, was running 5 simultaneous affairs. Not sequentially. Not one ending before another began. 5 at once. The recipe book sits in front of me. I flip through the pages, seeing them differently now. This isn't a record of her grandmother's cooking. It's a catalog, a rating system. She was comparing them, tracking which man made which dish better, optimizing her affairs like I optimize financial portfolios. My phone buzzes. David Perkins. Decree ready for signature. Can you come in today? I look at the 4 names Robert sent me. Then I open my laptop and start searching. David Nguyen has an Instagram. Professional photos of his plating, behind-the-scenes shots at Canlis. No personal posts, no indication he's anything but a dedicated chef building his career. Martin Webb writes for Seattle Met. His byline appears on restaurant reviews, food trend pieces, profiles of local chefs. Married 15 years according to his author bio. 3 kids. Kenneth Price runs a boutique wine distribution company. His LinkedIn shows him at industry events, wine tastings, vendor meetings. Engaged, according to a photo from 2 months ago. She's young, smiling, holding up her hand to show off the ring. Russell Grant's Bakery has a Facebook page. Photos of croissants, custom cakes, holiday specials, and family photos. Him with his husband and their 2 adopted daughters at the bakery's 5th anniversary party. I close the laptop. 5 men. At least 3 of them have families. Kenneth's fiancé doesn't know she's marrying a man who spent his Wednesday afternoons in bed with my wife. Martin's wife doesn't know her husband of 15 years was writing restaurant reviews by day and sleeping with Natalie by night. Russell's husband doesn't know about the cooking lessons that taught Natalie the real way to make bread pudding. And David Nguyen, working 80-hour weeks at one of Seattle's best restaurants, has no idea he's one of 5. I could do what I did with Julian. Expose all of them. Post on their social media, email their employers, send screenshots to their spouses and partners. I could burn down 5 lives the way I burned down Julian's. My phone buzzes again. Melissa Broussard's number. I haven't heard from her since she called about Julian losing his job. I don't answer. Instead, I open the recipe book to a blank page in the back. One of the empty pages Grandma Thibodeau left for new recipes. I pick up a pen. David Nguyen, canless, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Martin Webb, Seattle Met, hotels, 13 months. Kenneth Price, wine distributor, Wednesdays, engaged. Russell Grant, bakery owner, married, husband, and 2 daughters. I write it all down in my neatest handwriting. Names, occupations, schedules, family situations, everything Robert found. Then I add the dates from Natalie's annotations, cross-referencing them with the recipe notes. May 12th. Tried with D. Perfect heat balance. David Nguyen's first appearance. March 3rd last year. M suggests less salt. Martin Webb, before Julian even started. 6 weeks ago. K brought amazing Pinot. Kenneth Price, the newest addition. I fill 2 pages with data. A complete accounting of my wife's extracurricular activities, documented with the same precision she used to track her affairs. When I'm done, I take a photo of the pages and text it to David Perkins. For the record, not changing the settlement, just want it documented. He responds in 40 seconds. Noted. Still ready to sign? I look at the recipe book. At the names written in my handwriting next to Natalie's annotations. At the careful record of every lie, every betrayal, every night she came home and kissed me after being with someone else. I could destroy these men. Send the evidence to their families, their employers, their social media followers. Watch their lives implode the way Julian's did. But Julian's wife was pregnant. His kids lost their father's income, their stability. And Julian, for all his arrogance, his stupid blog posts, his affair with my wife, he didn't know about the other 4. He thought he was special. He thought it meant something. They all did. I text David Perkins. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., I'll sign. Then I text Robert. Stop the investigation. Send final invoice. His response comes immediately. You sure? I look at the recipe book one more time. Then I close it and put it in the drawer where I keep the divorce papers. I'm sure, I text back. I have everything I need. I sign the divorce papers on a Tuesday afternoon in David Perkins' office, 6th floor of a glass building downtown, where you can see the sound if you stand at the right angle. Natalie sits across the conference table, her attorney beside her. She's wearing the blue dress she wore to our rehearsal dinner. I don't know if that's intentional. David slides the decree across the polished wood. I sign on the marked lines. Natalie does the same. Our attorneys witness. Notary stamps. Done. 7 years of marriage reduced to 18 pages of legal language and 4 signatures. The decree will be filed tomorrow, David says. Final in 30 days, barring objections. Natalie's attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia Jones who bills $400 an hour, gathers her papers. My client would like to retrieve some personal items from the residence this week. The settlement specifies, David starts. Her grandmother's china, I interrupt, and the Le Creuset set. She can have them. Natalie looks up, surprised. Patricia looks suspicious. David looks at me like I've lost my mind. The settlement gives you all household contents, David says quietly. I'm aware. I'm choosing to let her have them. Natalie's voice is small. Thank you. I don't respond. Patricia makes a note. The meeting ends. Natalie leaves first, heels clicking on tile, her attorney trailing behind discussing next steps I don't hear. David waits until they're gone. You want to tell me what that was about? I think about the recipe book in my kitchen drawer. About the 4 names I wrote down and then never used. About Melissa Broussard's pregnant silence and Julian's destroyed career and the careful mathematics of revenge. She can have her grandmother's things, I say. I'm keeping the recipe book. That's enough. Natalie comes by Thursday evening. I'm not there. I make sure of that. I spend 3 hours at a coffee shop in Fremont, laptop open to quarterly reports I'm not reading, while she boxes up china that survived 3 generations and cookware we got as wedding presents. When I come home, the kitchen feels different. Lighter. The empty cabinet where the Le Creuset lived looks like a missing tooth. There's a note on the counter. Her handwriting. The same script that filled the recipe book margins. Thank you for the china. I know you didn't have to. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not for getting caught. For all of it. You deserved better. N? I read it twice, then throw it away. Robert Callahan sends his final invoice Friday morning. $3,800 for 2 weeks of surveillance, background checks, documentation I'll never use. I pay it without argument. He includes a note at the bottom. Good luck. You're doing the right thing. I'm not sure I believe him, but I appreciate the sentiment. Saturday, I cook. Not from Grandma Thibodeau's recipe book. I leave that in the drawer, archived evidence of a marriage that doesn't exist anymore. Instead, I find recipes online, watch YouTube videos, learn techniques from chefs who don't know my wife and never will. I make jambalaya from scratch. It's terrible. Too much salt, not enough spice. The rice comes out mushy. I eat it anyway, alone at my kitchen table, tasting my own failure instead of someone else's expertise. It's the best meal I've had in months. The divorce finalizes on a Wednesday in April. No ceremony, no notification beyond an email from David Perkins with the stamped decree attached. Congratulations, he writes, like I've accomplished something. Maybe I have. I take the recipe book out of the drawer that evening. Flip through the pages one last time, reading Natalie's annotations and my own additions. The catalog of her affairs, the documentation of my revenge, the careful accounting of everything we destroyed. Then I flip to the back, to those blank pages Grandma Thibodeau left for new recipes. Past the names I wrote and never used, to a completely empty page. I write one final entry. What I learned. Revenge is a dish that burns everyone who touches it. You can serve it cold, hot, or perfectly spiced. Doesn't matter. The taste is always bitter. I could have destroyed 5 men's lives, sent evidence to their families, their employers, their communities. Watched them burn the way Julian burned. The data was perfect. The documentation was complete. The revenge was ready. But Julian's kids lost their father's income. His pregnant wife lost her stability. And I gained nothing but the knowledge that I could hurt people who hurt me. That's not strength. That's just more destruction. So I stopped. Let the others keep their secrets, their families, their lives. Not because they deserve it, they don't. Not because I forgive them, I won't. But because I'm tired of cataloging betrayal, tired of tracking lies, tired of turning love into spreadsheets and marriage into evidence. The recipe book stays with me. The annotations remain. But I'm done adding to them. Some recipes aren't worth perfecting. I close the book. Put it on the highest shelf in my kitchen, spine out, visible but untouched. Tomorrow I'll try making beignets. They'll probably be terrible. I'll probably eat them anyway. And that, learning to live with my own imperfect cooking, in my own quiet house, with no one to lie to and no one to catch lying, that's enough. The moral, if there is one, revenge doesn't restore what was broken. It just breaks more things. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop breaking things and learn to build something new instead. Even if you have to start with terrible beignets in a kitchen that's too quiet and a recipe book you'll never open again. I'm not healed. I'm not over it. I probably won't be for years. But I'm done burning things down. And that's a start.